Hey, Haseeb, welcome to our live broadcast on our Facebook page. I don't know whether you know about our Facebook page. We started back in December and we already have 22,000 members. So, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks for having me, Shahid. My name is Haseeb. I am a senior product manager here at Disney right now on the Disney streaming side, where I manage all the Disney streaming apps, which includes Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Star Plus for the international audience. What I'm going to be sharing with you is not related to the job I'm working at, but this is my passion: AI, machine learning, data. I use a lot of data and BI tools at my day job and uh, have been in this space for some time. I've been in the entertainment industry also for a number of years and happy to share and talk more about all that as well as everything AI.
So, in our forum, what we have noticed in last 6 months, I mean, I've been playing with GPT, I mean, ChatGPT specifically and OpenAI for last 6 months, and we build a lot of product and I see a lot of interaction. One thing I have seen that when people are thinking about business solution, they're struggling. They are still talking about content. Yes, I do understand you can generate content and answer simple questions. What do you see that ChatGPT or other AI model will bring us productivity, or how do we apply that knowledge to actual job?
Yeah, I think it's important for us to understand that AI is really here to help and support our day to day job rather than be worried about losing our job because of this. I don't think it's there yet. Most of us, we spend like hours each day just researching and trying to figure out the the stuff which we are trying to learn or to work on. All those things can be kind of like outsourced to AI, as well as your mundane tasks like creating a spreadsheet where you have to add some bunch of formulas. You have to come up with a list of, for example, titles for your presentation. All those things can be outsourced to AI and with their LLM models, which are pretty accurate now. So all those things are really helping me, and I think you can use all those things also. Most of you may be already using ChatGPT. I have been going and speaking in different conferences where I've been sharing my experience. So when it all started, I just started using it and playing with like a small questions and tasks. So I was traveling a few months ago, and then I asked ChatGPT around, give me like a 10-day itinerary around the things which I should do. I'm going to Saudi Arabia, first time ever. Give me like a recommendation of things to do, places to go, what time to go, and then it gives me an itinerary, which I think if I call a travel agent, it may take a week for me to collect all the information because the person who's sitting here in LA may not even know those places to go. So all those things are being done better with AI than as someone who's trying to learn and understand that specific area for the first time.
So following up with that, right? I have seen multiple projects already. People took OpenAI API and build that, right? I think, openbasic.com. There are few websites I have seen where you put your city name and they give you the itinerary.
Correct.
So this is a real implementation of OpenAI to create a business solution, right? Can you think of any other solution like that where people can take these ideas and build application?
So now I think it all started with LLM, and now it's moving toward generative AI, which is multimodal, where you're not focusing on text only. Now you can focus on image, you can focus on videos. The output is different. So I think this is like one way to start. Text is a one form, but there I think the image and videos is also coming up. There is another use case which I recently worked on with my brother. He's based out of Sweden, and he's playing with this tool also. So he created something called mightyhomes.com, where you can go in and put an image of your room, your backyard, your front yard, and and then it gives you an option what kind of style you're trying to achieve. It can be modern, it can be a vintage, it can be a classic. You can select, and then it outputs an image which is designed, or if it's a backyard, it will create like a beautiful backyard with lights and trees and a pool and all those things. And you can visually see that and come up with it triggers something in your mind which was not possible before. You have to ask your interior designer to design something for you in a 3D image, and those 3D images used to be like a cartoonish kind of image. Now it's much more realistic when you put. So I would suggest you all to go try and play with that tool. Also, that's another use case which I think it's going as a next step from focus on text to image, and then moving on to videos.
I see one thing I have spoken with a lot of people, and people are worried about job also, right? And one of the thing I always put the same example you provided, that instead of calling the travel agent, you go ahead and generate it, right? Now, it of course take away some of the job which people were doing, but it is going to also it create more opportunity. That imagine that your travel agent can regenerate this using ChatGPT and send it to you. So you will not go to the ChatGPT. As
Yeah,
soon as you book a ticket, you will receive this itinerary on your email box.
correct. Yeah, I think that's a good way. Like all those people who are in this, like same with lawyers, like the last couple of months, like the due date was coming. Everyone was trying to achieve the max productivity in terms of making that deadline. All those text agents you try to call, they was like, we're busy. We don't have enough time. Why? Because they're still doing it all manually. They're still trying to do it all the old way of things. If they have, for example, ChatGPT and a couple of AI tools to increase their productivity, they can cater to more clientele. They can bring in more customers. It's profitable for them. So if all of us try to look into that as an opportunity for us to learn and try to increase our powers, like we all have our own unique talents and understanding of the work which we are doing. By using this, what we can do is we can achieve 10x more productivity out of the number of hours we have in a day during our work hours.
And how do you see that entrepreneur who actually watching this clip, that how can they think about more solution? Like let's say whether you work for Disney or other bigger company, ultimately they need to create solution which instead of you doing some work manually, you will use those tools, right? There are going to be a lot of, I think LinkedIn CEO was talking about that it's going to be thousands of ChatGPT based application, and we already started noticing it. There are, I think, 50,000 app already on the market. What is your message to them? How they should think about it?
I think don't create another text creation SaaS company. Focus on new use cases, trying to focus on what you already know, a field or an industry which you are working in already. So come up with new solutions, try to solve, because there's a use case of LLM and generative AI, uh, and all the new AI models which are coming out, and utilize it and come up with new use cases. And that's the most important thing. It's completely fine copying and come up with clones of what is already out there. But I think it's important if you can do a little better than what they are doing. I think you can go much more. And also understanding the use cases which big organizations have. I think for us, like we're at Disney, the image and video models are super important. And I just posted yesterday on LinkedIn around the new model. I think the Stanford did a research and they come up with a model where they can predict during a video stream the different moods of individual person, and then they can also do like multi faces. So it's like three people, one is happy, one is sad. So all those things which were there before, now you can kind of like do it much more better with the new EM models and all of that. So come up with use cases around it and then pitch it to an individual enterprise companies. I think that will be a good way for entrepreneurs who are trying to get in right now.
Thank you. So when I saw your posting about AutoGPT and that got my attention, and I want to know a little bit more. What is the difference between ChatGPT to AutoGPT? What have you found out since you started playing around with it?
So yeah, so there are like a bunch of tools which can help you use the new Auto GPT. But just to give you a quick summary of what it is. So it is kind of like, instead of you prompting what you do in ChatGPT right now, you write your prompts. It comes with an answer, and you give a second prompt. In this whole like Auto GPT, it is self prompting itself. It's thinking for itself. It's reasoning by itself also. So it's coming with different scenarios and try to reason and trying to come up with the better next action. So then it takes actions, and then also it also decide and reason if it's a good decision or not. And all those things are happening in front of your eyes. It's not something which is happening in the background. So every single thing, it is kind of like step by step going in front of your eyes. So I can quickly show you one example over here.
Sure.
There are a few websites which you can use. There is a GitHub repo of this project, which is open source. And then you can create your own app, or you can download it and do it offline. With the only thing you need is the API from OpenAI API for the ChatGPT, and you can just plug it in and start using it. There are a bunch of websites. So this one is agentgpt.rework.ai. I think that's the example you saw, which I made a quick video on it and posted on LinkedIn. So I will not do it again over here. If anyone is interested in trying to figure out the agent GPT, I have a LinkedIn video which I shared already. There are a couple of other ones. So this is another one called Gnosis, if I pronounce it right. I think that's the spelling. COGNOSYS.ai. And then there's another one called God Mode. And this is godmode.space. So I'm going to just quickly show you an example over here, which I already created. So over here, so if you see over here on this one, so all three have the same thing. So you have to add your OpenAI API key, which you can click on it and just copy paste from OpenAI API website, just pull it and post it over here. Then you can start using it. This next thing is the name. So you can name your agent anything. So over here, the example I created was podcast. So I create an agent, which is podcast GPT. Then I define objective over here. So what is the objective for your agent to complete? So over here, I said market research and find trending skills to earn 100,000, and then use it to create a podcast script, headline, and stories. So you can put any simple one-liner also, and it will take it from there. There's an option to create automatic tasks where you let AutoGPT or your podcast GPT to come up with its own task, or you can define those tasks too. I did is automatic task, and I just submit. So then it started. So if you see over here, you start with analyzing job market data to identify industries and job roles that pay 100,000 or more annually. Then it created task itself. So if you see over here on the right side, one by one, it will create its own task. I'm not doing anything. And then it come up with the action item, work on it and move on, and then start thinking again, complete that and move on to the next one. So if you see over here, it's added a task where it's research and gather stories of individuals who have successfully learned and applied. And then also I looked into like trending stories. Then it created and came up with task again to conduct research on 5 trending skills that are in high demand. So these are the 5 ones it pulled together. So the good thing is that it's already connected to the internet. So it can go and research and look at other websites and then come up with the content and research based on that. So that's a good thing about this. That's why over here, I tried calling it research, because in ChatGPT, the historical data is already there. It can give you historical information and come up with a list. But over here, what I'm trying to push AutoGPT is go and trying to find real time and research all the websites. I can only also define the website which I want AutoGPT to go and try to look for. So these are the 5 skills: AI, machine learning. Obviously, that's why we're talking about it over here. Data science, which I heavily use in my day job, cybersecurity, digital marketing, healthcare management. So these are the 5 based on research top skills to have. And then after that, the next is now it's looking into all the social media analytics tools to identify. Then after that, now it's that is completed. Then after conducting research, gather the following stories of individuals. So these are, I think, random names where they came up with like a stories. So what I can do is I can use this and then try to find maybe a developer on LinkedIn with a similar experience and then use it as a real guest in my podcast. Similar over here. So I can have over here, if you see over here, all those skills connected to individuals over here. So I can go and try to find someone with who's a digital marketing, who's using Facebook ads to talk about this topic. Same with over here, someone who is proficient in Python. I can ask and go find someone with that specific experience and ask them machine learning algorithm questions. So if you go over here, so it also says and create a list of podcasts related to identified trending skills and industries, research that, and keep going, 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 going. So here's a list of podcasts related to skills.
Wow. Unbelievable.
It's crazy that it's. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check if these are all real or not. But based on the names and everything, it looks like these are real podcasts.
Yeah.
So these are all different podcasts which are talking about these skills and industries. So I can mention it, or I can go and talk and try to collaborate with them. So keep going on, keep going on. So now it's thinking of headlines and stories. I don't have time to read all that, but just to quickly summarize. So if you see completing, so these are like continuous learning and upskilling. So based on that, reviews connected to the person identify. So what it's doing over here, it's kind of like already interviewed and looked at those guests and their skills and suggesting us what are the key takeaways out of that. And then these are the talking points which we can use if you're doing a podcast. At the end of the podcast, we can talk about continuous learning and upskilling, networking ability. These are the important things we should focus on. Okay, so create a list of potential guests, develop a script. These are tasks which I didn't provide. I didn't provide any of those.
Wow.
Everything has been done by itself. So same going, keep going and on and on. So here's the script. Okay, now there you go. This is an exciting part. So it already created a script outline for podcast episode. So I can literally episode 1, introduction to trending skills and industries. Here are all the topic which I will cover. Episode 2, skill 1, which is AI and machine learning. I have already a defined guest name and the skill set which I can find, and then I can talk about these 4 things, and on and on and on. Okay, so now completing research and identify potential sponsor and advertiser for the podcast. So I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think that it's for me to just go and trying to find the potential sponsors and advertisers. So it already did for me. IBM, Google, Cisco, HubSpot, and AWS. These are the sponsors which I should be going and reaching out to. And there you go. So thinking, task complete, shutting down. There you go. And then if you see on the right side, all those steps are here also defined as the headings.
You can just download them, right?
Yeah, you can just export it. You can copy paste in your Google Doc and then do it. So if you want, we can do quickly one example over here. What do you think? Let's do a YouTube GPT, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
And see if we can create a YouTube research and create a YouTube video talking about makers.
We're just saying that, this kind of tool set will impact a lot of research job, but still you need creative mind, you need execution, right?
Right. Yeah. I think it's important that you action upon it. That's the most important thing. Right now, like creating content, coming up with ideas, all those things can be done with this. But still, like, for example, if you're creating a newsletter, you have to work on creating a newsletter, go do some marketing, bring in customers, bring in new subscribers. Same with this. Like, for example, if you're trying to create a YouTube channel, you can go and you don't have to go and research and come up with topics and headings and all those things, but still you have to sit and talk about it, bring a creativity around it by bringing your character, bringing your experience, talk about some examples which you have And then that is what I think the unique thing is. If you see over here, while we're talking, it already created a history of Nike shoes and their impact. There you go.
Wow.
And so if you see on the right side, it's
Mhm.
literally like creating this task, thinking, adding task, and then thinking, and then coming up with the story around it, and then just keep going on and on. So if you see on the right side, gather information, research current trends, create a script for YouTube video, including interesting fact, compile list of popular Nike
Wow.
shoes and their respective features. So if you see over here, Air Max, Nike Zoom, Cortez, so all those. And it's happening in front of your eyes. And you were like, just have to think of one line, put it over there, and all the work is being done for you.
No, that is amazing, Haseeb. Thank you. We are running out of time. I just want to get a little bit more about you. So, what about? I see your blog. So, can you tell me a little bit more about your blog and what is your side hustle? You have it a little bit more.
Yeah. So I think I really appreciate everyone who's here to go and yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. My Twitter handle is Haseeb Speaks. You can find me on Haseeb Speaks on Twitter too, Instagram also. Pretty active on all the social media platform. And if you're really interested in AI and what's going on, I'm playing and testing all the new tools and technologies. I'm really writing about it and sharing it in a newsletter. So feel free to go and sign up on haseebtariq.com. Find a newsletter over there, which you can sign up. And I will be sharing all these new things which are going in that newsletter for you to look into. Also, if you have any questions around AI, happy to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to support. If you have any cool ideas which you're working on, happy to put in some money too, if that is what you need, and any mentorship.
Sure. Haseeb, we'd love to have you back. Give us more update what you are up to and your research on this area. And also, if time to time, try to post it on our forum.
Thanks for having me, and looking forward to be part of the conversation again. And then hopefully next time when we meet, there's a whole bunch of new things, and what I just shared will be obsolete and not important anymore. This is how fast AI is moving, and I think we all should just try to learn as much as we can. Don't worry about FOMO, but at the same time, try to get in early so that we can make use of this technology, like many technologies in the past, which we are actively using right now.
Thank you.